Buffy's delusion is multi-layered. She believes she's some type of hero.
The Slayer.
The Slayer, right, but that's only one level. She's also created an intricate lattice work to support her primary delusion. In her mind, she's the central figure in a fantastic world beyond imagination. She's surrounded herself with friends, most with their own superpowers, who are as real to her as you or me. More so, unfortunately.
Hey everybody, and welcome to episode 119 of Revisiting Sunnydale. I am Camila.
I am Marcella.
Let us get into this. But first, please keep up with us on all the ways that you can. Facebook, Revisiting Sunnydale. Twitter, @Back2Sunnydale. Instagram, I almost said Instacart, at RVS_podcast. And of course, the website, revisitingsunnydale.com. Also, you can rate and review us and follow us or subscribe to the show and listen to the show on Apple Podcasts, Libsyn, iHeartRadio, now Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, and Player FM. Please enjoy.
Yes.
So last episode, I pulled some of the better, more recent reviews that we got and read them on air. Hope you enjoyed them. This episode, Marcella decided to go ahead and pull some of the older bad reviews.
Because, you can't have the good without the bad.
Right,
you really
right.
can't.
Right. And we have to keep it real.
Right. So here are just a few of the people who don't enjoy our show.
And quite frankly, I think these are the only two bad reviews.
And they're so strange.
They
like,
are.
I mean, I don't mean to say your review is strange, but your shit is strange. I'm sorry.
Right.
Especially this first one. And
Right.
you guys will back us up.
Right.
Because I really don't get this one. It's from a user called Bespangled. And it was titled Self-Censor Artists. And it said, this is the We Hate James Marsters podcast. We really loathe him. It used to be fun and funny. Now it's ranty and righteous. I unsubscribed. Can't recommend.
Huh?
I can think of exactly one time.
Exactly. One episode
Where we did rant and rave a little bit about his foot fetish. And
also,
rightfully so.
And the weird relationship that was going on with him and Michelle Trachtenberg and the whole song situation
with
and all
her
that.
pretty feet.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's the only time I can recall ever bashing on James as a person.
Otherwise, it could be called the We Thirst for James Marsters podcast. Right.
Exactly.
I don't get it.
So, I mean, if anybody else, because I mean, also, right, like, to be honest, there are a lot of times that I don't recall some things that I have said on the podcast. So if anybody would like to correct us and point out some other bashing that we've done on James that had nothing to do with the before mentioned subject, please feel free to remind us. Let us know on the interwebs and stuff.
But to call us though, we hate James. That's
strong. That's strong and wrong.
Yeah. The next one is from Dean Girl Forever 85, and they said that we are the worst Buffy podcast.
Ugh.
They said, try listening to this, but you girls get off topic way too much. And also, one of you girls were wrong about Oz.
Meaning?
Because he had every right to be mad at Willow for cheating on him with lame Xander. That's why I'm glad Oz left Willow in season 4, because he deserves better. Also, Oz was the best in the show. You girls are lame, and there are better Buffy podcasts out there.
I don't recall saying that Oz was wrong for being mad at Willow.
I don't either.
For cheating on him.
I'm going to have to go back and listen to that one.
Right.
Because that doesn't sound like something either of us would say.
No, there's no way we would be like, Oz shouldn't be mad about Willow cheating on him. There's no way.
No.
I don't see it at all.
I can't even imagine what was wrong with us that day if we did.
No, yeah. I mean, that makes zero sense to me. I have no idea. But clearly this person is an Oz stan. So,
For sure.
Fine, whatevs, man,
And a Dean girl.
Yeah,
apparently.
I'm assuming supernatural. But, or Dean... Damn, I can't...
Dean Winters?
Yeah, no, Dean Martin.
SB.
I don't know about his
We do go off topic a lot.
We do.
I have seen posts that really like that.
Exactly.
About us.
And that's just that's just going to happen. So, I mean, to each his own. If that's not your thing, that's not your thing. So you can move on to your other better Buffy podcast. What else? That's cool.
I do remember seeing one other that mentioned something about they like the show a lot, but they didn't like our makeup reviews, which we actually haven't done in forever.
Right.
We have not done those subscription boxes. So thank you for going deep into the history of the show, because we did used to do this, but we, for some reason, just stopped. I think we stopped getting a lot of the boxes.
Exactly. I know I did. I stopped getting, I stopped a lot of subscription boxes, and after a while it just got to be a bit much. So yeah, I mean, that's cool also. Yeah. You know, whatever.
Yeah. To each their own, and we love all the reviews, so don't forget to leave us reviews. We like the bad, the good, we take them all.
Right, because I like to know that somebody's listening. So.
Right. I remember very early on we had a comment about a person leave a review that we sweared too much. We didn't change that.
No.
But your point is valid, and we loved it all the same.
Right, exactly. But honestly, though, I mean, don't come out of left field. Like, don't get personal about things, like, because that might trigger something that I can't control. Right. So
I'm an adult. My opinion is mine, and yours is yours. You're free to it, and I'm free to mine.
Right.
But I will come for you if you cross the line.
Exactly. Be respectful about it. That's all I'm saying.
And don't be one of the actually people.
Don't do that either, because you know what?
Don't do that.
First of all, this is a free podcast to everybody. Neither one of us is getting paid to do this. Right. You guys aren't paying to hear it. And so, I mean, there's only so much research and deep diving that we can do into each episode of the show. And there's only, it just can't happen. Like, I would love to get paid to do this and like to really dig in. And,
for this to be my job.
Right. Oh. Exactly. And to just be like, yes, this is all the symbolism that's going on in this episode about blah, blah, blah. And like the overall arch and the overall arc of everything. But no. This is what we got.
Yep. and you guys love us.
And we're happy to do it.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I've started my rewatch of Angel a little early because it had been a while, and I just bought it on Vudu. I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm super stoked
to talk about it.
Sort of related, but not related. Like, I was going through my Vudu stuff that I had bought like early on in pandemic, like I keep forgetting that I've got all these other TV shows that I bought like the bundle and save on. And I was like, I bought Fringe,
right? I was like, shit, I should probably watch that.
I bought Hannibal. I was like, oh shit, I got all of the Game of Thrones here.
You know, I thought about, they had a glitch last week with Mad Men. And it was the sale was supposed to be $6.99 per season for Mad Men, which was 7 seasons.
Right.
But early that morning when it went on sale, they accidentally put the complete series up for $6.99.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Dude. Oh.
I didn't buy it because that's not my fandom. I don't like that show. I tried. I just can't get into it. It's just not for me. But could you imagine?
I know, right? Oh, man. If I had seen that, I probably would have done it because I used to own the DVDs, but then I got to a point where I was like, I don't think I'm ever going to watch this again. And like, there are certain aspects of the show that I liked, but for the most part, like, I just don't really see myself watching it again.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, and I know, and I think you don't particularly care for John Hamm.
I don't.
But
I don't like that cocky bastard.
I enjoy watching it. That. And
he is a good-looking fellow that knows he is a good-looking fellow.
Right. Yeah, but it's not one of those things that I'm definitely not going to pay like $7 per season to own that. And
no,
but maybe I should probably go ahead and rewatch Fringe though, since I apparently own
and Dollhouse and Firefly.
Right. Which Dollhouse is on Hulu now.
I think so, but I was like, it could disappear at any time, and I think it was $4.99 a season.
Really?
And I was like, yes, please. Yes, I'll take that. So if you guys have not heard or do not know, Vudu is probably one of my favorite places to pick up digital copies of movies.
Yeah.
They routinely have stuff on the cheap, $4.99 for 4K.
Yeah. They always have a sale going on, like every Friday or something. There's a new sale.
Yeah. Yep, a new sale for the weekend. And I've been picking up a bunch of old stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I got The Incredible Shrinking Woman. Sure, it was $14.99, but where else was I going to find it?
Right.
High Spirits with Steve Guttenberg. and a very young, very good-looking Liam Neeson.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Huh.
What else? Just Fatal Beauty, because who doesn't love Sam Elliott? I can't. That mustache, man. I can't help it. That voice.
I'm getting him confused with Elliot something or Sam somebody else. Sam Shepard? Is that who I'm getting him confused with?
Well, Sam Shepard's the weird skinny one. I don't like Sam Shepard. Sam Elliott was in Tombstone.
Right. Yeah, I got that. Yeah, he's cool. He's cool by me. All right, so season 6, episode 17. Also, can we get a sponsorship from Voodoo? Just saying. All right,
that'd be nice.
Season 6, episode 17, Normal Again. Original air date March 12th, 2002. Written by Diego Gutierrez, which this is his only writing credit for Buffy, which I'm shocked and appalled by.
Especially because it is such a This is a whopper,
right? And he doesn't really have too many other great writing credits later on in his career either. But he was apparently an assistant for 44 episodes of Buffy.
Wow.
I don't know assisting who into what, but yeah. This was directed by Rick Rosenthal, who this is one of his only 2 directing credits for Buffy. The other is Help, which we'll get into later. After Buffy is stung by a demon, she begins to have vivid daydreams about a mental asylum. She gradually begins to believe that she is a crazy girl back in LA and that Sunnydale and all her friends are just a figment of her imagination. Important guest stars: Amber Benson as Tara, Danny Strong as Jonathan, Adam as Warren, Tom Lenk as Andrew, Dean Butler as Hank.
Piece of shit.
Christine Sutherland as Joyce. Yay. Kristen Nelson as Lorraine Ross for a hot second, the chief from Psych. Chief. And we have Michael Warren, who is Buffy's doctor in the alternate universe. Dude, this guy was the shit in the 80s.
He was. He really was.
Hill Street Blues, I think, was his big thing.
Yeah.
He also showed up on some like a different world, I think, for a couple, the Jasmine guy, the Dwayne and Whitley wedding. He was their minister, I think. But yeah, he, for whatever reason, I don't know why he didn't become a bigger thing. He was so good. He's so good looking. And still really handsome in this episode. And
very recognizable black actor in the 80s. Very you knew who he was.
Exactly. And I guess Denzel just kind of beat him to the punch of being the next Sidney Poitier.
Right.
Which I don't know. There can be room for 2. But anyway, I'd like to know what's up with old Michael these days. Every once in a while, he pops up on things. It's it's him. So let me just get this out there. And I know I've said it many times before, but this is one of my favorite episodes of Buffy. This is, I would put this as in my definite top 5 best episodes of Buffy. Not necessarily ones that make me want to ride on Spike or, funny ones, but just best done, most artistically and creatively captured. And this is how I think that the series should have ended. I know a lot of people hate that idea, but I think it would have been just a perfect little bow on everything, and I would have loved it.
I think I would have set the world on fire had this been the way the show ended. I probably would have burned my own house to the ground. Every piece of memorabilia I had, I would have torched. This would have been a St. Elsewhere ending.
Right. Was it St. Elsewhere? Yes, that was the dream.
Yeah, where it was, and the entire series was the dream of an autistic boy who had a snow globe with a hospital that said St. Elsewhere on it.
Right. And it was also, I think, Bob Newhart's show.
Yeah. Where he woke up and it was all a dream.
Right.
Oh, I would have been pissed. Not that this isn't a good episode, because it is. It is stylistically fantastic. It is directed wonderfully. And the writing is phenomenal. Plus, there are little moments in this that make me child giggle. They're so funny. They're random, but they're hilarious.
All right, well, let's get into it. We start off with Buffy walking around through the neighborhood with a list of new rentals, searching for the trio. Where does one get a list of new rentals? Is there only one property management company in Sunnydale?
I'm not sure. I'm confused. So if she got this from, so let's just say she pulled up Craigslist and these are all the properties that are available to be rented.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. But it looks like she's tracking down places that were rented.
Right. Yeah.
That I don't know how you get a copy of.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's what it looks like. Because I think there's like, it looked like there was like full on information on this list of like
their names. And I feel like that's
when it was rented.
I mean, maybe Willow hacked it.
But again, is there just one property management company in Sunnydale? Because could you imagine like trying to get a list of places in Pittsburgh that were recently rented in the last month?
It's just that girl that rented Xander his apartment. Right. That's the only person that rents property in Sunnydale.
Right. So as she's doing this, we see that the trio, she's like right outside the new house that the trio has rented. Even though they rented the entire house, they are only living in the basement. And
that doesn't make any sense.
No, because they're on the lam. They have to lay low. And Jonathan's like, that's just figuratively. We don't have to literally be underground.
Like, close your windows and shutters. And like, why are I don't get it.
They're fucking idiots. Because you still have to come and go. Because apparently,
right.
Like, all right.
So Andrew and Jonathan or Andrew and Warren are allowed to leave.
Yeah, but not Jonathan. Po baby.
No, Jonathan's going straight up Jack Torrance, which is a wonderful reference.
It makes perfect sense. Yes.
And he's been cooped up and they won't let him leave.
So as they're bickering about this, they notice on their surveillance cameras that Buffy's like right outside the property, like looking in to the empty house that, nobody is occupying the upstairs. So it's up. Andrew's up. So he has to
pulls out a didgeridoo.
Right. And doesn't say any sort of incantation or anything, but I guess This one special didgeridoo is particularly for calling this demon guy that he calls. So
ridiculous looking.
He looks like a waxy Uncle Fester.
So waxy. That is the perfect word. Like, it literally looks like a wax demon.
Yes.
And it's got a polka-thing arm, which how many times are we going to have a polka-thing arm on these demons?
Yeah. Is that where Adam got his?
Maybe it's the type of demon that Adam is, but it didn't give people deep-ass hallucinations.
Right.
She takes a straight-up trip to La La Land when this thing pokes her.
Right. So, like, he pokes her, and, like, she pops out into, like, she gets delirious, and it's like it shows her in the psychiatric facility as a patient.
Being stuck with a needle of some sort.
So, listen, there's going to be a lot of flipping back and forth between Sunnydale and the hospital, how things are, and the corresponding alternative. We'll do our best to try to keep it straight. These kind of things always mix me up when I'm trying to like recap and tell them. Mm-hmm. They kind of stumble me a little bit, but I'm doing my best. But it's done flawlessly in this episode.
It's really, really good. And just the balance of color alone in the way the two different Buffy's real life has kind of a yellow filter to it. Mm-hmm. And it's this just muted kind of, I never noticed it before, but in such stark contrast to the bright bluish white filter that the asylum has. Her whole, even in daylight, it has a yellow filter in Sunnydale for some reason.
It's like extra yellow and harsh. Mm-hmm. And so, like, we start off with, like, something as subtle as, Buffy's back to work. And, again, those fries look awful. She pulls out of the deep fryer. But, like, she's at work and kind of dazed. And her boss is like, Buffy, trying to get her attention. And then she's like, if I didn't know any better, I'd say you're on drugs. And then we flip back into the hospital and there's a nurse saying, it's time for your drugs. And it's like stuff like that. It's just like a really great correspondence between them.
It's amazing. Now, for some reason, we don't start back after the credits. We don't start back at the asylum. We get this week's kind of subplot with Willow waiting to meet up with Tara. And she's so nervous and so cute. And she's just going through what she's going to say. And I love the one where she's just for gay love and fun times.
Like, what?
What are you talking about? And then she sees Tara with another girl. And she sees a little kiss on the cheek, and for some reason, that equates that Willow is going to just take off.
Well, I mean,
that Tara's seeing somebody else and it's just a peck on the cheek.
Yeah, but Willow's already pretty self-conscious about the whole thing anyway. I don't think it would have taken that much for her to bounce anyway. Had Tara been wearing a different color, she'd probably like,
oh no, our colors match. I'm out of here.
Right.
And she ran. And after that little exchange at the Double Meat Palace, Buffy and Willow are both home. And Willow's doing a little bit of research.
Like she's trying
Buffy's got on a great sweater.
She looks so cute in this outfit.
So cute.
Like, just, I mean, there's nothing over the top done about any of it. Like her hair is just kind of like in this, whatever, lazy bun type thing. And this sweater is nothing special. It's just beige turtleneck sweater and her jeans, plain jeans, but it's so cute. And I love
all of it is so cute.
I love this look. Absolutely to the hilt.
This is like relaxed Buffy.
Right. So she and Willow are chatting it up, and Willow tells her about what she saw with Tara, and Buffy's like, it's probably nothing, just friends, yada, yada. But Willow is still just kind of like, freaked out.
And she says, once you fall, I'm sure they're just friends, because once you fall for Willow, you stay fallen. It's like, holy shit, Buffy's not being self-centered and selfish at the moment.
I know.
She's actually being a good friend.
I know, right? It's like, wow, this sting may have been the best thing that's happened to you. It's
right. Because even when Xander had this horrible thing last week, the first thing she could think about was how it affected her.
Right. Yeah. Like they were my beacon. This was they were supposed to be my light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah.
So I'm surprised she wasn't like, oh, don't worry about it, Willow. You guys are my new beacon.
Right. Yeah.
You'll work it out.
Right. Right. Right.
And speaking of the fuck boy.
Ugh. This bitch. Xander shows up. He pops into the house I'm sure Willow and Buffy have some very mixed emotions about how to feel about Xander right now, but they greet him with a hug and, whatever. And he's all like, is Anya here? No, she's
Why
not.
would she be?
Why would she be there? Why? Because
you're the glue that held her in the friendship. She doesn't even really like any of us.
Exactly. And also the fact that they're not choosing sides, but they're choosing sides. Like,
right.
There's no way that she would go hang out there with there being a chance that Xander would pop in.
Right. Can we talk about what he's wearing?
Why? This
Did
jacket.
he steal Uncle Roy's clothes?
Yeah,
he
exactly.
looks like a pimp from the 60s.
Yes. A down on his luck pimp.
Yes. One that just got beat out by his girls.
He's got like $5 hookers. This is the look that he's going for. So he's going on and on about how bad he feels, about how he's all lonely and whatnot, and he's all by himself, and he was a better person with Anya, and he didn't. I don't know how things got all mixed up. You mean
you did it?
You mean when you told her you didn't want to marry her?
when you wrecked when you threw a grenade into your entire world?
Right. When you said you couldn't get married and you left her literally at the altar. That's not ringing any bells, bro?
Okay.
You don't remember that?
And he talks about how like the magic box is closed and it just chills him to the bone. Fuck you. That's all I wish anyone in that room would say to him.
Like, fuck you piece of shit. And he goes on to you can see like the confusion with like Buffy and Willow when he's like, I didn't want to break up. and Willow's like, you didn't want to get married, but you still wanted to date?
Right? Like, again, see above. Fuck you. You don't get to have it both ways, sir. You just don't.
No. So he's basically trying to make a case for how it's not really his fault. Because he's trying to blame it on, when you add families and demons and weddings in the mix, things get all crazy. No.
Mm-mm. Every person that has gotten married from the beginning of time has had some chaos around that wedding.
Exactly.
And they've managed to deal with it like a grown-up and move on.
Exactly. But no, Xander. All right, so Xander cries a little bit more, and then, we move on to Buffy going out to patrol.
Which, at what point was she just like, no?
You know what?
I'm gonna.
Never mind.
No.
I don't have the bandwidth for you right now. I'm not.
And she's just walking ho humbly with the most adorable hat.
I
What
know.
is with you tonight? She's so cute.
It's a lot of beige though. Like,
It is a lot of beige.
like the hat, the sweater, her suede
Yeah.
jacket. What is it?
And she doesn't get like very far into the cemetery before good old Spike shows up.
With groceries.
Like 2 cartons of cigarettes. Okay, so
Well, I mean, dude
we have to
is
think.
already dead, so I mean,
right.
smoke them if you
He
got them.
did say it turns your teeth, your fangs yellow after time. You got to be careful.
Right. Maybe also in that bag is some like bleaching cream for his teeth. Some
Whitening toothpaste. Could you see him like
He's got the
brushing
tray,
a fang?
or he's got like the bleaching tray in his mouth.
But let's think about this for a second. He doesn't have a job. So who did he scare to get money
Right.
to go? Because no one had that bag of groceries.
No, not whatever. Whatever's in that bag, there's nobody else in Sunnydale that would have had that exact bag.
Nope. 2 cartons of Morley's, a bag of Weetabix.
Right. Probably an onion and some flour because he was going to try to make a bloomin' onion.
Bloomin' onion. And maybe some bugles.
Right. So he and Buffy have a chat. You know, they're like people, and Buffy's like actually treat him like people, and they dish about Xander and Anya's non-wedding, and Spike seems surprised but also doesn't care really. Mm-hmm. He says he's surprised, but it's also like, meh, I don't give a shit.
Yeah. And he makes a very pointed comment that some people can't see a good thing when they have it.
Right.
And he looked at her very pointedly.
Right. He may as well have just like, scratched a record player and just like stopped everything and just stood in front of her and just stared.
Right.
Hold for 40 seconds.
But then I guess Willow decided she didn't want to sit around listening to Xander's crap either.
Right. So, you know what? Let's go patrol. Hopefully something will try to kill us. I don't...
So they catch up to Buffy, and we get a very typical manly, testosterone-fueled argument between Spike and Xander.
Yeah.
Because as per usual, Spike is everyone's whipping boy. When they feel bad about themselves,
right,
they take it out on Spike.
It's like, Xander, you have no place. He just immediately starts in on him. It's like, dude, shut your fucking mouth. Can't you just be fucking still?
Right.
And now this has zero to do with you. Spike has zero to do with you. And so they get in each other's face, and Xander's all, oh yeah, I forgot. You can't hurt me.
Okay.
And then he punches him. And while they're going at it, Buffy starts to have an episode. Mm-hmm. And we're flipping back and forth between her here and the psychiatric hospital with the doctor is like, oh my God, she's lucid. And he's like, do you know where you are? Blah, 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 blah. And yeah. And then he's
kind of mean about it. He asked her if she remembers where she is, and she says Sunnydale, and he's like, no. Forget all of that. None of that's real.
Nah, bitch.
And she keeps cutting back and forth between the two. So the guys are fighting, and she kind of it's so beautifully shot.
I know it.
Or edited, I should say.
Yes, right. And the doctor is telling her she's been there for 6 years. And
which, damn.
Right. It's like, okay, the entirety of this series. And then he's like, look who's here. And oh my God, it's Mom. And
Mom. Oh my God. Oh,
and Hank.
Dad.
No, hey, Hank. Don't I get a hey, Dad? No, Hank.
No, Hank. She's like, Mom. Dad. I think she's more surprised to see him there.
Right.
And the doctor's like, keep talking to her, keep her lucid, keep her here. Mm-hmm. And she's just like, oh, this is too much.
Like, maybe the sound of your voice will ground her. And Hank it's just like this is a spiral at this point. Like, what's happening? And
so they get her, she wakes back up in Sunnydale, and everyone's like, oh my God, Buffy, what the fuck? What's wrong with you?
What happened?
And Spike is just like, no, let's get her to my crypt. We'll take her, and Xander's like, no, we got this.
Super rude.
And then Spike is like, put a little ice on the back of her neck.
She
likes that.
Mo.
Oh, puppy.
Dude, just, yeah. Why do you try? Why do you even try? None of them deserve you.
No. And what does Willow do? She puts the ice in a glass. He said on her neck.
Not the same thing, Will. Not the same thing.
Bad friend.
So Buffy starts to lay it all out to them, tell them what happened. So I got stung by this thing, and now I've been having hallucinations about.
Which, why didn't you tell them when it happened?
Yeah.
So you just had this
It's been like a whole 24 hours.
Right. You just got this like demon sting on your arm and just thought,
You weren't.
You didn't think maybe I should put some mercurochrome or something on that?
Like, you weren't anywhere near worried about what that could have done to you?
The last time you got demon shit on you, you could hear people's thoughts and almost died.
Right.
What is wrong with you? You talk about Dawn being an idiot for letting Harmony in the house. Right. You're worse.
You literally got stung by some demon. Like, some demon has put something inside you. And I mean, it's not, the spot's not even itching or anything. It's not red. Like, there's no concern about it whatsoever.
If she had been like Dean, just scratching her arm the whole episode. I would have loved that.
And there's this is a kind of a comedic moment where that I enjoy, that, you know, Buffy explains to them what's going on with her, and like, she's in the hospital, like, she's having hallucinations about being in the hospital. Sunnydale's not real, figment of her imagination. And Xander's like, oh, what are you talking about? You know, things like X-Vengeance demons and vampires and, you know, mares turning into snakes and all that stuff, and your sister being a big ball of universe destroying energy. Like, that's how is that not real?
Right. And one could say, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Right. At that point, I would have loved for Xander, as he, like, in the same breath, to be like, yes, I can understand where you're coming from.
But no, instead, here's the thing I don't like about this scene. She's in a very fragile, vulnerable state.
Mm-hmm.
I know you bitches have more furniture in the house than all of you sitting on the couch staring at her. She needed more of a circle, a welcoming circle to tell this tale, not a line of disbelief and questioning.
Yeah, exactly.
Staring at her.
Right.
It's not warm.
It's a little harsh. It's a little almost accusatory. Just like, what have you done now, Buffy? That kind of thing. And she also mentions that her mom and dad were there, and they were like they were before she moved to Sunnydale. And
this triggers Dawn. Not about you.
I know. God.
It is not about you, Dawn. She's trying to tell you all this.
Dawn. Not now. Not now, Dawn.
Mom was there?
Shut up. And so Willow's like, okay, let's get into action. Let's time for do some research. Let's figure out what's going on. And Buffy starts to have another episode. And one of the things I do really enjoy about this episode is how the doctor just like breaks down her entire existence in this the last 6 years, which also correlates perfectly with the last 6 years we've spent in Sunnydale ourselves.
Yep.
And it's just kind of like his whole the explanation is just a thing of beauty where this writing is concerned.
Except for the fact that he left out that Hank Summers is a piece of shit.
Oh, by the way, you don't exist anymore, Hank. So anyway, as I was saying, and he goes on to talk about how, she made up Sunnydale because it was a place of comfort for her, and now it's no longer comforting. And that, she has these superpowers, and her villains used to be grand and like big and gods, and now it's just 3 boys that she went to high school with who like to play with toys. Which, damn, dude, like real, like even,
harsh.
Even her doctor is just like, that's shade.
It's so messed up.
So like, but the actual diagnosis is that some form of schizophrenia is what she has, is what they're giving her, and her delusions are like multi-layered, and her believing that she's some sort of superhero, and even like Dawn and all that stuff, and just like I just love the way he breaks it all down for them, and
that she's created Dawn as something to give her comfort, the magical key. She must just, it's weird to me because it seems like she, they say she's catatonic most of the time, and that when she wakes up here, it's finally a moment of her being lucid. if that's the case, when did she tell you all of this?
Right. Like, how do you know all this is happening? Like, because in my imagination, she's just like left in her room, like acting out all this stuff
Right.
by herself. And if this is the case, that at some point she has woken up and you have these sessions where she explains all of this to you, like for the last 6 years, don't lock her up. You put her in front of a typewriter.
Right? You give her a 6-book deal.
Exactly.
And we call it a day.
Exactly. And they just like go on to about like every time that they think that they're getting through to her, like something magical happens or whatever. There's like some magical thing that happens with her.
And she retreats back into herself.
Right. And they even reference the time when she was dead, when Buffy died in Sunnydale. About that time, like a month over the summer where she was lucid.
Yeah. So that must have been when she told them the first 4 seasons of the show.
I guess so. Maybe that was it. It's like she was lucid for a month.
For a month, that you're like, holy shit! Listen to all this stuff. This is where I've been. This is what happened. She's like the ultimate Dorothy in Oz.
Right.
So now back to other asshole men in Sunnydale. Warren is being super shady.
Right.
He is loving the fact that this demon has caused Buffy to be tripping balls.
Right. He's like, oh, he's got her drooling now. And like, dude, wow. He just doesn't
He
give a
said
shit.
something about a Ken Russell Film Festival, and I don't know who that is. That is a topical piece of info that I don't get. It's a joke I didn't get.
Yeah, I was not. I wasn't privy to that. British film director. That's what I got.
Yeah. It's like, well, what stuff did he do? Should I know it? I don't think I know it.
It doesn't look like
Probably not.
anything that I don't know. That's not. I'm gonna say it's not worth the time.
It's a Warren joke.
Yeah, nobody cares, Warren.
No. And again, they're being super shady about not letting Jonathan out of the house while they go off and buy things.
Right, Jonathan looks really wrecked. Like
He really does.
He's like,
I feel so bad for the tiny man.
He looks like he hasn't slept or showered or eaten a hot meal in months.
He's all sweaty.
And they've come back with some packages or whatnot, and they won't tell Jonathan what they went to go get. And Jonathan is...
Which I'm going to assume that this is their jetpacks. I think that's a trivia for later, but it is
probably
that's what they have is their jetpacks.
Right. And they've got some schematics on the computer. They pull up about a vault of sorts or something. I guess they're going to
do some nerd shit,
break into a vault or some shit like that. I don't know,
some weird Fast and Furious shit that they wouldn't actually be able to get away with because they're just nerds.
Right. So they're going on back and forth and trying to convince Jonathan's like, well, I'm gonna go get some stuff that I need, and Warren's like, no, you can't do that because what if something happens to you? And
yeah.
So Willow figures out what the demon is, and his stinger happens to have an antidote to its own poison. What I don't also, but kind of still like, is that I don't like. We never get into what the demon's poison is supposed to do.
Right.
Like, does it cause just random delusions, and it's just like kind of up to the person that gets poisoned, like what these delusions end up being? Does it like put you over into like an alternate, like that's just like there's nobody mentions it ever.
No, never.
And that kind of,
we don't get the demons Wikipedia listing for this guy,
which it's kind of frustrating in one end, but also it's like, okay, so this also that leaves this whole interpretation wide open still, because there's no clear-cut explanation as to what this demon is like what he does.
No, it just lends to the mental asylum story better because it's a fantastical thing with no explanation.
Right. Exactly. So go ahead.
Willow's the first person in this episode to actually read a room because she's like excitedly telling Buffy about this anecdote and that it's going to be all right. And Buffy is literally in the fetal position on this couch.
Right.
And you can see Willow's whole face change like, oh God, what's wrong?
Like, this is serious. Something has gotten wrong. And Buffy admits to being detached, and she's just like, I'm sorry. Like, this is like, I've been in this funk. But also, Buffy, you were brought back from the dead.
Right. It's understandable. And, this whole time we're thinking, this is a really terrible delusion. Why would this come out of nowhere? Why would you even think this? And Willow even says, Buffy, you were never in an institution.
Dun, dun,
and that's when the big hammer drops.
Oof.
And Buffy tells Willow, yes, I was.
Well.
And it turns out when Buffy first started fighting vampires in LA, she told her parents. And they thought she was batshit crazy.
Which I guess, you would do. She was like, what, 14, 15 when this happened? She was scared. She saw vampires, was scared. What do? You're scared. You're a kid. You go tell mom and dad. And mom and dad were like, oh, hell to the no. We're going to put you into this institution. Send her to a clinic for 2 weeks.
Which I call bullshit.
Why?
You can't just retcon people's history. Because if this were true, and Buffy spent time in an institution after telling her parents that she hunted vampires. Mm-hmm. When she told Joyce she was a vampire slayer in season 2, the first insult that would have come out of Buffy's mouth would have been, you put me in an institution.
Exactly.
But there's no mention of it, and Joyce is surprised.
Right. Exactly. Like, this is the first time Joyce is hearing anything about a vampire.
Vampires. Yeah.
And that's a point too. And then my whole thing also was like, and also like Joyce never apologized.
No.
Like later on when she found out for herself that they were real, there was never a moment.
That Joyce is, she would have been like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't believe you. How could we have not believed you?
Exactly.
But no.
So. Yes.
So you're rewriting Buffy's history a little here. It's a great dramatic moment, and it's an awesome hammer drop, but it's bullshit.
Right. There's no
Joyce
backup.
is the biggest dick in the show. She takes the reins from Hank Summers.
Exactly. So either this is just all kinds of bullshit, and there was, Joyce was just a big dick.
Tomfoolery.
Wow.
I'm not.
But you're right. There's even if she hadn't apologized, you're right about the fact that would have been the first thing out of Buffy's mouth was like, remember in LA, this, like
you locked me away
for 2 weeks. And so it's real. Gotcha. So while Buffy and Willow are having this heart to heart, Spike and Xander are off hunting this gobbledygook demon. And I guess, Xander has filled Spike in on what's going on with Buffy. And Spike is making this about himself.
He's like, that makes so much sense. Why would I fall in love with her? Turn me into her sex slave. What? Nothing. No, I'm...
Nothing. Spike is just like, alternative realities. And this is the beginning of what? Our Spike and Xander Buffy, or our Spike and Xander buddy cop moments.
Yes. And it's really funny because the demon pops up out of nowhere and Spike is so mad. Why didn't you tell me it was... Oh my God, that name.
Glarkin.
I have to look at it.
Glargon Weasel.
Yes.
Glargle Kashmoshnock.
Xander's like, because I can't say that.
Exactly. And also, why does it matter? Can somebody give me an explanation?
Right.
Why does that matter?
If I'd have known it was him,
then we could have
done what? It's not possible.
So as Spike is going on and on about his, about how this affects him, about Buffy's hallucinations, how it's his problem. There is my burn of the week, where
it's the burn. It's good.
Burn. Spike says to Xander, in a different reality, you might not have left your bride at the altar. Might have gone through with it like a man.
That gets that meme of the guy who puts his hands on his face and falls.
Right. It's like, how long you been holding on to that one, Spike?
Right.
Like you've been waiting this whole entire this whole hunt for that.
And Xander's just like, one more syllable about Anya, and that's when the gargle gashminik or whatever pops out. And why does they have been using the same rifle gun, I think, through the entire series.
Never used it, never shot it.
No. And they hit the demon with it twice, and he's still not going down. And then Spike kills it. And if you're using a trank gun, I'm going to assume you weren't supposed to kill it.
He doesn't kill it. He just
Doesn't he break its neck?
No, because he's alive when they bring him back to the basement.
But he totally jumps on the back of it and like snaps its neck.
Maybe he's.
But it is alive in the basement.
Was he just?
So I don't know
dead?
what he. Maybe I guess
or was
that
there
was
another
just him
one?
knocking it out.
I guess. Well, it's probably physically impossible to snap the dude's neck the way that Spike would have done it because of all the wax on his head. It would have slipped. Spike's grip would have slipped.
And Xander makes some stupid joke about I altered his reality.
Right. Boo.
Boo.
Boo. Go back to your basement.
So Dawn comes into Buffy's room, Buffy is she's shook this whole episode. She's just kind of in her room, curled up in a ball, and it's back to Buffy who just crawled out of the grave, kind of quiet, despondent. And Dawn is like, I made you some tea. Okay, Dawn, let's make this about you.
Yeah, and we're gonna really she's going for it. She's gonna go full speed ahead with this, and we flip to the hospital where Buffy's parents are talking to her, and they're like, "You don't have a sister. It's not real. This is ridiculous. We want to take you home. You need to say it out loud to make it so. You don't have a sister." We flip back to Sunnydale. Buffy's like, Dawn, we got to do better. Your grades suck. I know Willow's been doing your chores. Like, basically,
you're stealing,
right? And then again, Dawn gets like super offended really quickly.
She's like, I'm trying.
No, you're not.
No, you're not.
And then Dawn realized, like, oh, in this alternate reality, you don't have a sister. And here we go. Here we go. She gets real shitty about it. It's your ideal.
Real shitty.
I don't exist. You don't have a sister. You don't want me around. Blah, 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 blah.
You know what? Mm-hmm.
You're right.
You're 100% right.
Yep.
I can't believe that they even bothered to bring Hank into this episode. Like, what's the why? Joyce could have been a capable single mother.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I believe in either reality, Hank Summers is still a piece of shit.
Because what, did he cheat on Joyce?
No, he just divorced. Oh yeah, he did with his secretary, I think.
Okay, that's because I didn't recall for a second, like, why? Because I know Buffy was blaming herself for a hot second
for them getting a divorce. I mean, it's true. And in that Wish episode, or the Nightmares episode, he definitely says her little thing, her troubles didn't help their marriage any.
Right. So they chain the demon up, and Willow breaks off his stinger, and she's off to go. Like, she sends Xander to the magic box to get some stuff, and just for chemistry reasons or for medicinal purposes.
Yeah, no
magic.
First, okay.
And she's going to go to the chemistry lab at UC Sunnydale to go make this antidote with chemistry.
Why can't you do it here?
What does UC Sunnydale chemistry lab have that you probably don't
have at home?
Right, just some burners and some beakers, like, and also this time is of the essence.
Right.
Call Tara.
Right. Do it magically.
Right. Seriously.
So my other question is, having just recently watched Cobra Kai and seeing things from other people's point of view, imagine you're this demon. You got summoned. Someone asked you to come to town and infect this lady. So you did. But now these kids are hunting you all over town. They knock you out. They trank you.
Right.
They knock you out. They tie you up in a basement. And they rip your thing out of your arm. That is awful.
Yeah. He's had a bad day.
He's had a very bad day. From his perspective, this shit is terrible.
Yeah, and also, so where did he come from?
Did he come out of existence? Did he just pop out of it? Like,
Right.
did they just make him for this
Right.
one sole purpose?
Or did they like
what,
open up
why
a
is he
portal?
hanging out?
Yeah. Or did they open a portal and he came through and was like, oh shit, now I got this thing. So, I mean, was there a time limit? Was he supposed to just be able to just, like pop on back, or like why is he just chilling still, just like hanging around? Like, I
Why
did
did
what
he
I was
go home?
supposed to do.
Why did you send me home? But see, that's the carelessness of the trio. They brought something here and they didn't put their toy away.
Right.
They just left it run amok.
Right. And so Willow finally gets the antidote together as a tea form, brings it into Buffy, and for some reason she allows Spike to come up into Buffy's room with her.
Yeah.
I just don't think that would have been a thing that would have happened, but okay.
No.
And then she gives him a job to do. It was like, make sure she drinks it, and leaves him there with her. Huh?
That's not what happens. That's not how it goes down.
So
he does the opposite.
Yeah. He goes there, and I think it starts off. I don't even know if it starts off cordial, because
I don't.
he comes in with a chip on his shoulder, and again, much like Dawn, I think it's just like, again, he's very offended by the fact that she would dare have an hallucination where he's not real, and so he flips the fuck out and gives her an ultimatum. It's like, either you tell your friends about us or I will. Huh?
Why you gotta pile on? I have enough to deal. Like, you realize I think I'm two people, or I'm slipping between time streams. I don't know what's happening, and you're gonna bring this shit up right now?
Not the time.
Not the time.
It's not about you. This is not the time. I need you to just you had one job, Spike. One job. Make sure she drank the damn tea.
You couldn't have had her drink the tea and then told her all this shit?
Right. And then
even as she was swallowing it.
Right. Just a little bit. Like, because she was already just like on the brink. I think all she needed was a little nudge just to not drink it. And so he goes off in a huff. And the way she responds.
Like drop kicks her.
Yeah. Bitch. And then leaves. And so she's like, you know what? Fuck this noise. I don't want any parts of this. I want out of Sunnydale. I'm done with it. And she gets rid of the tea.
First of all, when she pours that shit out, I wouldn't have drank that.
It looks really thick and gross.
It looks like blood.
Yeah.
Like nasty, thick blood.
She poured it into a plant. Was that a real plant, or was that
She poured it into a trash can.
Oh, trash can. Okay, that's gonna stink. That's not gonna sit well.
Nope, not at all. And she still got to throw that out? Or do they just go get the trash bag at the end of the episode when she finally decides she has to fix her shit?
Or does it? Or maybe
Willow says something about making more. I think. Why make more? It's just in an empty trash can that had a fresh bag.
Right? Yeah. Just pop a hole in the bottom of that bag and just make her suck it out, because she did this to herself. Like, this is your own fault, Buffy. You have to drink from a trash can. So, bottoms up.
Yep. And so she wakes up in the asylum, and she's basically like, I am done with that shit. And so she is kind of still flitting back and forth, but now they've come up with a plan for Buffy to stay lucid. She's got to get rid of everything in this other life that is holding her to that delusion.
Right. And and this is the point where he references when she was dead in Sunnydale and she was lucid, but who pulled you back? It was your friends, that Willow and Xander and the rest of them, that pulled you back in. And she's like, you're right. And so you have to cut the cords, Buffy. You got to move on. And she's like, bet. And so Buffy prepares to go on and start kill her friends.
Mm-hmm. And one by one, we see her interacting. She interacts with Willow. She's this cute little scene with Willow where Willow's like, I'm going to make some food and we'll clear your noggin right up. And Willow's like, okay. And kind of like childlike takes her by the hand and they walk in the other room and we don't see her again.
It's okay.
And then Xander comes over and wow, he has really put on some weight in this season.
Yeah.
Like his jackets are so big and it's like, you know how it is when you put on a couple pounds, you wear bigger clothes because you don't want people to see, and that's how I feel Xander is in this episode. He's just, all of his clothes are so big.
Yeah, exactly.
But he comes over and no one's around and he starts talking to Buffy, who's in the kitchen cleaning, and
Which
you could feasibly think, oh, they made food and now she's just cleaning up.
Well, but that should have been like a red flag right there. When is Buffy ever cleaning?
Right?
Like, for real.
And she's just standing there with this frying pan, and they have a little conversation. And then she just full on smacks it in the face with this frying pan.
And I cheer. Finally!
Right? Except it took a lot more to get Xander down than it should have. She act like it was hard wrestling with him.
Yeah.
It should have been nothing.
No.
You fight demons, girl.
Yeah, exactly. Especially
even in your weakened state.
Nah.
Which you're not weakened, you're just confused.
Right, exactly. It should have just taken that one blow to knock
with the
him
frying
out.
pan.
Right. He should have been.
But no, they wrestle back and forth, and she's choking, and he's like trying to defend, and then she does get the better of him, and she tosses him downstairs.
Where we see poor Willow is already tied up and gagged.
And she comes back upstairs and locks them in the basement.
Oh, and
she's not done yet.
Dawn.
This is a bit Jack Torrance.
This is phenomenal. She rolls upstairs and Dawn's like angrily stuffing shit in a bag. Like, where you going? Going to Janice's. They actually like me there.
Do they?
Okay, Dawn. I mean, I feel like you're an inconvenience over at Janice's house.
I do too.
Like, were you invited? Do they know you're coming?
And Buffy's being super creepy, and you can tell she's really trying hard to hold on.
Right.
She keeps having these deep breaths and having to stop and kind of recenter herself. And
Buffy's like, no, you're not going anywhere. And Dawn is like looking at her, and she's like, she holds up, she holsters her bitch teen mode for a second and is like, you look sick. Are you okay, Buffy? Is everything
what's wrong with you?
Like, what's happening right now?
Real accusatory, like, something's up.
Something ain't right. Something ain't right.
Buffy's like, no, everything's fine. And Dawn is like, you're being weird.
And Buffy's like, it basically breaks. Is like, what'd she say? I gotta cut.
She said,
ties.
You're going downstairs with the others.
Yes.
And that's when Dawn is kind of like, what the hell do you, that sounds a bit culty. What are you talking about?
For why? Why am I going downstairs with the others?
I don't want to go downstairs. And she tries to grab her up. Buffy lays hands. And Dawn is like, nope.
She ducks and dodges, and she gets away from her for a little bit, like going through the bathroom and all this stuff. And Buffy's like, this is the only way for me to get healthy. I need to get rid of you.
You're just a trap for my mind. I got to get rid of you. And poor Dawn is just like, no, just talk to me, Buffy. We can wait. You realize of all of her friends, you're the one that literally isn't real.
Right. You are the last one to be trying to make a case for yourself.
Right.
That this is normal and real. It's like, I'm your sister. I love you. I need you. Dawn?
You might want to shut that. You should just jump out the window.
It's like, what? You're right. I'm just gonna go. You're right. If Willow can't bring it back, it's not gonna be me.
And Buffy even says, yeah, of course. So what's real? What's more real? A sick girl in an institution,
right? Or
some kind of super girl,
right,
chosen to fight demons and save the world,
and sleeps with a vampire she hates. Yeesh.
What? Stop with the two of you. Stop just casually dropping this in conversation.
So, I mean, at this point, like, once it is common knowledge, I feel like Dawn and Xander shouldn't have been quite as shocked when they heard the news.
Right.
It should have been a moment of clarity, like, oh, that's what they were talking about.
And then Buffy gets the better of Dawn.
I do.
For a minute, I thought she was just going to choke her out on the floor.
Me too. But
I was going to be okay with it.
Yeah,
like it would have been severe and harsh, but.
But I do. I like some of the moves that Buffy pulls out there, like her
rolling across the bed.
Yeah, it's like that's dope, Buff. That's dope.
That was pretty dope, and it shows that she's still strong and would have beaten the shit out of Xander.
Right. So she gets them down. She gets them all downstairs. Everybody's bound and gagged, and she takes a peek at. Oh yeah, guess who's still here? Old gobbledygook demon is still chained up in the basement too. And then we flip back to the hospital where everyone's egging her. Everyone's just like cheering her on. Buffy, you can do this, but don't stress yourself out. Take your time. It's totally fine. And then
see, they're in a warm circle around her. a nice inviting warm circle, and she feels loved, and they're giving her warmth and caring and telling her supportively that she can do this, because she's starting to freak out a little.
Right.
She's starting to get upset, and she's like tensing up, and they're just lovingly
Like,
telling her it'll be okay.
It's okay. It's okay. Take your time, baby. Take your time. Buffy unhooks Uncle Fester, and he's about ready to go to town. He starts off with Xander, and Xander's like, "Oh my God, what's happening? I need my
Buffy,
arms.
help me.
I need my hands." Did you see what
Buffy,
just
help
happened?
me.
Did you
She
see?
tied you to that. Why would she help you?
Right. And then for whatever reason, Tara shows up. Huh?
I don't even know why she's there. Nobody called her. Nobody. I don't.
There's no explanation as to why
Nope.
she's there.
Nope.
Happens to
She is
show up.
just an unknown expletive.
Right. And Tara? Okay. So there's a scuffle. The demon is like, and this is like a lot of quick editing back and forth between the hospital and Sunnydale. With Joyce is like trying to give her this pep talk, like, baby, it's not real. And this is like getting to me.
Yeah.
The talk between Joyce and Buffy, I'm like, it like gives me chills and stuff. And like, we're going back and forth. Xander's still crying for help. And, Tara hears the ruckus in the basement. She comes down, uses some magic to untie folks and to like.
More magic than she's ever used.
Right. And just like instantly.
Levitating shelves all by herself with
One word and a point of a finger. And as she's coming down the stairs, Buffy's hiding under the stairs, and she trips her. She like yanks at like the old, pulls her leg out from under her on the stairs routine.
and Tara takes a nasty tumble.
Yeah.
Like she could have died here.
Yeah,
And
literally.
Buffy's just like, oh.
Yeah, she could have broken her neck and been dead. All of the dead. Everybody is, they're fighting and tussling and blah, blah, blah. And we go back to the hospital, and it's just Buffy and Joyce in the shot. And Joyce just keeps going on about, I believe in you. You're strong. You're special. You can do this. And this is
Buffy's
just
like beating her head against the wall.
Yeah. And
It's the be strong, baby.
Yeah,
that got
and I am
that-
like,
just
and I get
"Mm."
choked up. Yeah, I get choked up. She's like, you have to fight this. You can beat this. You're too good for this. Like, this is it. This is what you're doing. I know you're afraid, but it has to be done. This is sometimes.
Your dad and I have all the faith in the world in
Right.
you.
I know the world.
Really?
Feels
Where
like
is
he? I know the world feels like a hard place, but we have to do this, and we'll always be with you. And Buffy has this moment of, I don't know, clarity, but just like realization. And she's just like, you're right. And she says goodbye to her mom for a second time. And,
Yeah. It's so sad. It's just, she thanks her.
Yeah.
And Joyce is just like, oh, yay, there's my baby. And then she says goodbye.
And it's just so heartbreaking.
And Joyce's realization of like, what do you mean goodbye? And Buffy retreats into herself. And then our Buffy stands up
Right.
in the basement. And it's like, oh, you done fucked up now.
Things just took a wicked turn for you, Mr. Gloggenheim. And
She picks his ass up, throws him around a bunch, and then punches through his chest.
Which, ew.
Real gross.
Yeah. Totes.
She doesn't rip his heart out or anything. She just literally punches through his chest and pulls out a gloppy, waxy hand.
Ugh.
And it's real nasty.
Yeah. And everybody, ew. And everybody's just like kind of rightfully
Kind of
so.
wary.
They don't know what to make of what's happening right now. Seeing as she had just tried to kill them, now she just saved them, and they're all just kind of like, But then it's like, it's okay, Buffy, everything's okay. And Buffy, she gives a blanket, I'm so sorry. But I still feel like it's not enough. That's
So not enough. It is so not enough.
I'm so sorry. That's it. And they're like, it's okay. We're okay. But I also guess it's like, I mean, what else are you going to do? Like, Willow, you're staying in her house rent free.
Right?
You can't,
Right?
You can't exactly cause a
And then-
ruckus.
And they're all like, come on, we'll go upstairs. We'll get her. And she's like, nope, I can't lay down until you give me the antidote.
And they're like
right now.
Yeah, at this moment. And they're like, okay. I mean, sure. And then we go back to the hospital where she's catatonic on the corner on the floor. Dr. Hot Stuff shines a light in her non-responsive eyes, and he's like, I'm sorry, we lost her, and end scene.
Credits roll. So as fans, we're all left with a, what the fuck?
Like, huh?
Did they, what? Did they just...
There's just a giant question mark left in everybody's heads and souls for the rest of the series. And even for the rest of our lives, actually, to be quite honest. Because I'm still just like, but what if?
Now, we had no songs this week.
Nope.
Just that little bit of score, I guess. Your burn from Spike to Xander was the burn of the week. We only had one body dropped. The Gulgashmanik, the Buffy punch through the chest.
Sure.
And I'd say it does pass the Bechdel test because most of the talk in this episode revolves around Buffy.
Yeah, absolutely. Like everything, like between Buffy and Willow and Buffy and Dawn. So, yeah.
Now, we have a ton of random trivia that I picked up from the Buffy wiki and from IMDb, just a bunch of different places. And so the first one is that Sarah Michelle Gellar would later appear on one of the last shows of All My Children as an unnamed character. She played a well-dressed, coiffured, and otherwise coherent young woman brought into town for medication because she claimed she saw vampires before they were in, which is just hilarious.
That's cute.
And as we all know, Sarah Michelle played Kendall, Susan Lucci's daughter. That's where she actually got like one of her big breaks.
Gotcha.
Back in the day. Now, Buffy's pre-Sunnydale experience in an asylum would later be told in the comic book Slayer Interrupted, which is a reference to Girl Interrupted, which is an amazing movie with Winona Ryder, Angelina Jolie, and Clea Duvall, who we all know was in Out of Mind, Out of Sight as Marcy.
He is.
This is also the first time there was no appearance of Anya since she became a series regular in season 4. Which she's off dealing with her own shit.
Right.
Could you imagine if Buffy had beat her ass up and tied her in the the argument that could have happened in the basement between Xander and Anya? That actually would have been gold.
Right? Yeah. Anya probably would have killed him.
At Comic-Con in 2013, while speaking about this episode, Joss mentioned that during his time writing Astonishing X-Men, he envisioned Cyclops, whose real name is Scott Summers, making a reference to a female cousin of his who had been sent to a mental institution for believing she was a demon hunter. However, he couldn't find an appropriate place in the storyline to fit it in and therefore never featured it. If that had happened, our minds would have been blown.
Yeah.
To connect Marvel and Buffy. Right. I would have lost it.
Right.
And finally, Marty Noxon said of the ending of this episode, it was a fake out. We were having some fun with the audience. I don't want to denigrate what the whole show has meant. If Buffy's not empowered, then what are we saying? If Buffy's crazy, then there is no girl power. It's all fantasy. And really, the whole show stands for the opposite of that, which is that it isn't just a fantasy. There should be girls that can kick ass. So I'd be really sad if we made that statement at the end. That's why just somewhere in the middle saying, wouldn't it be funny if, or would this be sad or tragic if, in my feeling, and I believe in Joss's as well, that's not the reality of the show. This was just a trick and a tease.
I disagree with her logic behind it about there be no girl power if Buffy were just crazy. Because eventually I guess we kind of get to it, but still though, like it's saying that, okay, if we think of it like that, if Buffy was just, if this was all delusion, she's in an institution, and that if that's the case, then there's no girl power. Well, there's also to say if this is real, then there's no girl power for real because all of this is magical. Like all of this is like
this was all given to her.
Right. This is a mystical thing. Like everything and everybody in the show that has supposed any woman in the show that has girl power, there's some mystical force behind her. Yeah. And so it's not to say that just any ordinary Jane can kick ass. So I mean, either way you look at it, like if anything, I would say it's more girl power if she were quote unquote crazy. Right. But, you know, again,
because then you've got the strength of Joyce dealing with
Right.
being there for her daughter and still being there for her no matter what.
6 years.
That's
yeah.
girl power.
Right. Exactly. So, I mean, but regardless, like, even the fact that it was not the series finale and, people like that it wasn't, people don't like that it wasn't, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But like, it was a great episode, and it opened up a lot of questions and possibilities, and it's just like, it's just so artistically well done, and I love everything about it. And even if it wasn't the way the series ended, I'm not mad at it. I'm glad it exists. I'm glad they put that question mark there. And it's fun, it's cool, and it's just a really great, like Marty said, a what if, or wouldn't this be sad?
There are several different ways you can look at it. You can look at it. So the first way you can look at it is that Buffy chose to live in this delusion.
Mm-hmm.
She chose this delusion over Hank Summers. The second way you can choose to look at it is that this is just the logical way of Buffy's brain capping the story that she went through. Mm-hmm. So as she's getting the antidote, it's just finishing off the story in the back of her mind.
Right.
That she has chosen to stay here.
Right.
Or you could look at it as Buffy is in that asylum, and that is where she sits to this day.
The only question that I would have, if that were the case, like if the reality were the asylum, is why would she choose to kill Joyce off?
Yeah, to have Joyce be dead.
Yeah, that's the only thing that gives me question about it. But again,
why would she choose a place where Joyce isn't?
Right. But yeah. But yeah, like this is like just this episode can be dissected and just like gone through with a fine-tooth comb, and that's
1,000 different ways.
I know, and that's the beauty of it. Like it's almost like a choose your own adventure.
Yeah, where you can't cheat and go back, or you can cheat. It's the ultimate. You can cheat and go back. But our moral of the story, I couldn't come up with a good moral of the story other than to just say mental health is no joke.
Right.
If you or someone is experiencing any kind of mental health issues, there is the SAMHSA's national helpline. It's 1-800-662-HELP. And if it is a free, confidential, 24/7, 365 a day treatment, referral, and information service in English and Spanish for individuals and families facing mental and or substance use disorders.
Perfect.
So it's free. Get help.
Yeah, exactly.
Somebody is out there to talk to whenever you need it.
Absolutely. So yeah, let us know, please. I really, 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 like, more so than any other episode we've ever done, I want to know everybody's thoughts about Normal Again. You can record an MP3 file and email it to us less than 2 minutes, please, to revisitingsunnydale@gmail.com. Or you can get at us on like Instagram or Facebook or Twitter. It's super cool, like just super easy. Like I really, really, really want to know where like everybody else.
We may even put up a couple things on the site to ask some very leading questions and polls.
Yeah. All right, cool. So next week is Entropy. A good one. This is like
the shit's about to go down.
Yes, this is where we're ramping up to. Like season 6 is just a really great season. It's so good.
And if we're able to next week, I'll look into it. We will repost the Facebook Live we did of Entropy.
Oh yeah, that's right.
A couple months ago. And you guys can check that out and let us know if you want us to do more things like that in the future.
Yes, absolutely. So subscribe, follow, like us, talk to us on the interwebs, and you can get at me, Camila, on Twitter at @the_Rugged Angel.
Or me, Marcel, at mspear7338.
All right, friends, thank you for hanging out, and get at us, talk to us, tell us what you think. Till next time.